Alright guys, what up? And finally, we have our first ever Survivor video on this channel. And today, the video is going to be about my top 5 favorite Survivor players in no particular order, with also 3 honorable mentions. Let's get into it, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so starting off with the honorable mentions, we're going to start off with Russell Hantz. Now, with Russell Hantz, it's not a matter of me, really liking the character or anything like that. I just really liked how he made Samoa so entertaining. And in my eyes, he was probably the best character on Heroes versus Villains. And, he back-to-back seasons, he didn't even go home, so I really respect him for that. And he should have won. Definitely one out of the 2 at least.
An idol. Here, Mr. Russell, here's an idol. This one's just for you. Well, thank you. You know what? I think JT just handed me $1 million.
In my eyes. So it's not really a matter of me being a huge Russell Hantz fan. It is more of me appreciating what he's done, and also the fact of he really, kind of got robbed. Which brings me to my next person, Boston Rob. Now, with Boston Rob, in Redemption Island, he was okay. Maybe it was just I was annoyed by the season, but I didn't enjoy it, which made me, not really become a huge fan. I feel like a lot of the time, people are huge Boston Rob fans, or they don't really like him. They consider him a bad Survivor player and all that stuff. I was kind of in the middle. It's not that I didn't like him, but I wasn't really cheering for him in Redemption Island. But then, fast forward all the way to Winners at War and all that stuff, and, current day, I think I'm a fan of him. In Winners at War, I really liked his gameplay. It didn't work, although, he had control on his tribe. They listened to what he was saying during Tribals. It might have not worked at some times, but he played with confidence, and, he's just a really good guy, so he's not one of my favorites, but he could be getting there. If he played another season and he went far, maybe he would get there. But for now, honorable mention.
Some words together. Is he right? Only you are safe. He is. Yeah! Rob Moreno wins final immunity. Wow!
All right, so my next honorable mention and my final honorable mention is Kelly Wentworth. Now, this was a very tough person to pick for this. In San Juan del Sur, she was okay. Nothing, just a regular Survivor player that got voted out pre-merge. Nothing special. But then, in Second Chance is when I became a really big fan. Loved her gameplay. All the idols. I really like what they did in Second Chance, hiding the idols in camp and at the challenges. And she was the first one to do that. So yeah, that was really fun to see. And I really liked her story. She was on the bottom, but she stayed in it all the way to the final 4 until she lost the challenge, where eventually Jeremy voted her out. It was essentially Jeremy, along with Spencer and Tasha. And then, yeah, she came super close, and I just became a fan of her that season. Then we go to season 38, Edge of Extinction, where, the fandom went a little bit down in my eyes. She played okay. It's not that I didn't like her gameplay or didn't like the character of her, but I thought she was whatever in Edge of Extinction, which makes it an honorable mention. She was close to not being on this list.
8th person voted out and the 2nd member of our jury. Savage. It's 2, that's enough. You need to bring me your torch. That sounds good.
And there could have been some other people, but I had to narrow it down, not make it, 15, 20 all-time favorite players. Just going to keep it short and sweet. So it was very tough to make it only 3 honorable mentions and 5 top players, but I did it. List might change later, but for now, those are my honorable mentions. Now let's get to my top 5 favorite players in Survivor history. Alright, so my top 5 list, they have all played a season together. Not all 5 of them at the same time, but one has played with the other, one has played with a different person, all that good stuff. So, like I said, no particular order. Let's just start with this person. I have none other than one of the greatest players of all time, Tony Vlachos. Vlachos, Nachos, however you want to pronounce it. He is up there in my top 5 favorite player of all time. And, in Cagayan, I really appreciate his gameplay. He was the star of the show, but there was also very, good players that season. One of the best seasons ever, with Spencer, Cass, Trish, all of them. They really carried it. But Tony was the flag bearer of the show of that particular season. And at the merge, I was actually more of Team Spencer. That crazy merge episode when it was the Tony Alliance, Tony's Alliance versus Spencer's Alliance. I just say those two because they were kind of, the leaders in a sense. But yeah, I was kind of Team Spencer, but then as the show was going on, I was really appreciating Tony's gameplay, and I was like, this guy deserves it. So by the end, when it was the final 3 challenge, I was, gutted that Wu won, and I was like, well, he's taking Cass, which made me think, I am a big fan of him. And then, of course, Wu made one of the dumbest decisions ever in taking Tony, a 2-time winner now. Who knows what would happen if he didn't? We might be sitting here saying Wu could be the greatest player of all time in a different timeline. But anyway, back to the original point. I really became a fan at the end of Cagayan, or, after the merge, I should say. And yeah, then we go to Game Changers. And this is where I was cheering for him the most out of anyone, for sure, by a big margin. I wanted him to win the game. And he got eliminated in the premiere episode, which, I didn't really enjoy. But whatever, I kind of expected it the way it was going. But I was a really big Tony fan at that point. And then, of course, we have the season 40, the most recent season, Winners at War, where he absolutely dominated the game. It might not seem like it in the first couple episodes, but, he stayed low because, thinking about it, Tony in Winners at War, he had to stay low at the beginning because he didn't have any connections. Other people, Boston Rob knew Amber, of course. He knew Tyson, knew Kim, all these people. Tony knew Sarah and Sandra. Everyone else had connections, all this stuff. So he had to stay quiet, and he did. And then, boom, he took charge. But we'll get more into it later and maybe a full in-depth look at Winners. But yeah, that's just my little take on that. But yeah, I was cheering for him the most out of anyone at Winners at War. And, that's me being honest. I'm not just saying that for the video. Before the season, I wanted him to win the most. And yeah, I remember that one episode where Denise played the double idol, saving herself and Jeremy. And then I thought, all right, Tony's probably going home. I really wanted to be Sandra, but it's me, Tony. And then boom, Sandra went home, and I was going crazy. And then boom, every single episode after the merge, I was looking forward to it so much to see if Tony could stay in. That idol, the immunity idol run was amazing to see. And then we see that one episode, everyone knows the episode I'm talking about, where he dominated most confessionals ever. I believe it was 18. He did everything in the episode, the fire tokens, immunity win, immunity idol, telling Jeremy last second what to do, and then blindsiding Sophie. It was great to see. Next episode, we got the Kim, where he voted out Kim, and then yeah, the finale was one of the best finales ever, just because, that fire making challenge, all that stuff, and Tony won, and I was pleased to see that, as he is the only male 2-time winner, and now the King of Survivor, sitting alongside the Queen Sandra. Really happy to see that. So yeah, that's how we start off the list.
And it is over. Tony defeats Sarah. Will take the 3rd and final spot at the final.
Alright, so my next favorite player is none other than Ozzy from Survivor Cook Islands, Micronesia, South Pacific, and Game Changers. Ozzy was one of the first Survivor players I really ever saw, because that South Pacific was one of the first seasons I actually watched live and properly, where I actually wanted someone to win and, saw every week, every episode every week, and knew what was going on, not just, seeing the TV and saying, oh, what is this? I actually knew what was going on. And Ozzy was probably my first ever favorite player. The player I was cheering on the most. I remember in South Pacific because he kept getting eliminated, I remember as a kid, and then he just kept coming back, and I just loved to see that. And I was so mad when Sophie won the final challenge as a little, 7, 6, 8-year-old kid, however old I was. And then, we see him in Game Changers where, he got eliminated at the merge. He was a second jury member, and I expected him to go sooner considering, Tony left, Sandra left, Malcolm left, all the big people left. I was like, all right, Ozzy's next, but he stayed in there. He proved he's a challenge beast in all his seasons, and you gotta have one challenge beast in your top 5. They're just great to see, and Ozzy was the best. I obviously watched all the seasons back, and he was great in both Micronesia and Cook Islands. Micronesia, he made it to the jury in all of his seasons, actually, which is pretty impressive. And in Cook Islands, he made it to the final 3, 1 vote away from winning the game. Personally, Yule still should have won, but Ozzy was definitely close. And then in Micronesia, he got voted off by a great blindside. Some say bitter, but I don't know. With the circumstances that he liked Amanda at the time, it was just a big, whatever. And, he was a G, as they say. At least in my books. 4 times he's played. Hope he comes back for a 5th on a legend season or something. He's 38 right now, so he's still got time. A lot of the legends right now are in their mid-40s. Like Tony, Rob, Russell, all of them. But Ozzy's number 2. And now it's gone number 3. As I said, in no particular order. Just the way it is. Let's get on to it.
Back in this game on day 36.
I have to thank them, actually, for sending me to Redemption. I spent the last 15 days just pushing myself every single day with...
Alright, so the next player who made my list is Natalie Anderson from Survivor San Juan del Sur, Season 29, and Survivor 40, Winners at War. And the reason I put her here, I was going to make her an honorable mention, but I decided, she can sneak into the top 5, is because I was heavily cheering for her in San Juan del Sur, and that was from the beginning. So even, Tony, I would say I'm more of a Tony fan, definitely, than I am a Natalie fan. But Tony, I didn't cheer from, from the beginning of Cagayan. But Natalie, I was cheering from the beginning of San Juan del Sur. She's from a different descent, just like me. Not Caucasian or anything, not taking anything away from that. It's just me, and her sister was voted out first thing, so it was kind of like an underdog story, and she went on to win it. She played a great game, and she deserved it, and then, Winners at War, and when you see the names pop up, like, wow, Tony's going to be playing, that's crazy. Rob's going to be playing. The thing is, we just saw Tony in 34. We just saw Rob last season, people like that. People like Ethan and Natalie were really cool to see because we haven't seen them for a long time. Natalie hasn't been too long, but, we haven't seen her at all since 29, which was, almost 6 years ago. So it was cool to see her back, and I was, really cheering for her at the beginning, and then she got voted out, and I was really cheering for her still on edge of extinction to come back in. But after the merge is when I kind of, wasn't really a fan of her as much anymore. Maybe that's because, Tony was taking over the game, and I was just focusing on the actual game more than the edge. But even, in the final challenge, I was kind of cheering for, like, someone like a Rob or a Yule to come back in the game. And, when Natalie won, though, I was still happy she won. But I really didn't want her to win the game, though. I said, okay, Tony better win this. If not, Sarah better win. But she sneaks in the top 5. Great player. And let's move on to the next.
and you made it to the end, you basically have to play a perfect game. And so I'm really proud of my game. I'm really excited to be here.
Alright, so my next favorite player is Malcolm Freeberg from Survivor Philippines, Caramoan, and Game Changers. 3 great seasons from him. I think, entertainment-wise, Game Changers, he did get booted before the merge, although his episode where he got voted out was one of the most exciting tribals of all time, where both of the teams or both of the tribes, they both lost the challenge because there was 3 tribes at that time, and they both had to go to tribal, vote one person out. It was really entertaining. I was excited to see Malcolm back that year because of the 2 seasons he played prior. They're pretty close to each other in Caramoan and the Philippines. Now we'll start with Philippines, which is his first season. We all know what happened with his tribe at the beginning. They were absolute garbage, and it was a 2-person tribe at the end. It was 3 of them, and then they had to vote out Russell, and that was a great episode to see. Russell Swan, that is. And then we have Denise and Malcolm, the best friendship, one of the best 1-season story arcs in all time. Don't get me wrong, Colby and Jerry is a lot better than Malcolm and Denise, and Tony and Sarah is better than all of them, story arc wise. But in 1 season, their story was really good. They made it from that all the way to the very end as the 2 top front runners to win the season, along with Lisa and Scoopin, who they weren't gonna win. Scoopin was kind of trash, and Lisa didn't really know what was going on too much. At least that's what editing showed. But yeah, Malcolm lost the last challenge. I was gutted to see that. And it seems a lot of these people who I was cheering for lost their last challenge. But anyway, really enjoyed seeing Malcolm playing. Then in Fans vs Favorites in Caramoan, he played a really good game. Him with Eddie was cool to see. And he got voted out. He made it to the jury, but I would have liked to see him last a bit longer. But yeah, great player. All around he's pretty good at strategic. Physical is very good, and social he's very good at. At this point, I don't know if he will return. I know he does, not work for Survivor, but he still goes to the reunion shows, does interviews, all that stuff. So yeah, I hope to see him back in the Legend season. And yeah.
So we figured we'd do something about it. And tonight we're gonna try to. So this is the other immunity idol I've been hanging on to. I'm giving it to Eddie.
Alright guys, before we get to my final top player, just subscribe. Not that hard, just click the red button. I assure you it won't do any harm to you at all. And now that you've waited this long to hear me say all that stupid stuff, well, before also like, share, comment, all that as well. But now, if you guys stick to this, far in the video, you can expect a video where I will be casting a future season. In particular, Survivor Second Chance 2 will be coming very soon. I will be talking about different strategies in Survivor, and I will be talking about who I think should win. That will be coming soon, along with my sport videos on the Premier League, the NFL, NHL, and NBA. So a lot of good things coming. And let's get to my final favorite player.
Bullshit.
Alright, thanks for listening to that bullshit. Now let's get to the part y'all wanted. If you skipped over that, it's fine, but just subscribe, doesn't matter, whatever. Now let's get to my favorite player. My top 5, one of my top 5 favorite players is Jeremy Collins from Survivor San Juan del Sur, the winner of Survivor Second Chance, and Winners at War. Now, he played 3 times San Juan del Sur. Why am I saying Swan Juan del Sur? Stupid. Anyway, San Juan del Sur, I thought he was a great character to see in the game. He got voted out. He was a second member of jury, and he was a good player. And then Second Chance, amazing. His run was amazing. I still kind of like Kelly Wentworth more in that season, but Jeremy was second. You know, he was the best player of the season, but entertainment-wise, he was probably second best throughout the whole season. And, you know, he played a great game. And then in Winners at War, my fandom for him, you know, like, it rose even more with him, you know, surviving every vote with his best ally getting voted off first and Natalie. And he's just a great dude. You know, he seems like a good father, good husband, all that stuff. Don't really know why that matters, but he just seems like a humble dude, and he plays a great game. He's won once, which he deserved.
All I care about is my family. That's my second chance.
The winner of Survivor Second Chance, Jeremy.
And yeah, that's why he's in my top 5. And I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Now, I want you guys to comment all that good stuff about who your top 5 would be. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, future videos coming very soon here. I got a lot of ideas. And peace out.